Hi everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. This is the 2024 Honda Pilot Elite. I know some of you say, Tom, show us the lower trim levels. And I tried to do that. I really try to show you every trim level of all of the different vehicles that I show here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel. Today we have the Pilot with the top trim level. And we're going to give you the information to answer the question, is this the best mid-size three-row SUV? It definitely has a lot going for it. Fully redesigned for 2023. Obviously, that's going to carry over unchanged for 2024. If you want to know more about this particular vehicle, check out the link down in the description of the video to the Holmes Honda website. The exterior color on this model is radiant red, and I know we don't have the sun shining directly on it, but it is a great looking color. At least in my personal opinion. You might have other ideas, and that's completely understandable. Tell me what your favorite exterior color of the Pilot is. Black interior. You're going to see that a pretty common thing with these models, but you do have one more thing. Let me get back in here. If you haven't seen it, as of 2023, if you have a sunroof with your Pilot, it is now a panoramic sunroof. So that's good news for a lot of people. And as far as your lighting goes, well, basically LED everywhere you look. LED daytime running lights, LED fog lights down there on the lower portion of the bumper. A nice stance that looks really wide, a little bit lower to the ground, helping out with that. That's not that it's necessarily any lower, really. It just looks that way with the wider profile, but a very capable vehicle in a lot of situations. And if you want to maybe go a little more off-road, not a Jeep, it's not a Bronco, but it does have that capability, especially if you go with the Trail Sport trim level. So there are options where that is concerned. The Trail Sport sitting 1 inch higher than this particular model. And here on the Elite trim level, well, everything you likely would expect to see here on the remote, including remote start. And this model does come standard with all-wheel drive. Let's talk about tire and wheel size. The width is going to be 255. You will have a 50 series sidewall wrapped around a 20-inch wheel. And with the side view mirrors, you'll have the body-colored mirror caps, turn signal indicators built in. They are heated. They are power adjustable. They're also power folding. They're also auto dimming. And I don't know how well we can pick it up, but right here you have blind spot monitoring, and you do have the walk-away auto lock feature, if you're wondering about that, with your remote. So it is a proximity key. We're going to have the roof rails up there. You can get the crossbars and really extend or increase your ability to have more cargo capacity. That is a good thing. And obviously back here with the sticker, that means you have a hands-free power lift gate or tailgate, depending on what you want to call it. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can use the kick motion like I did right there, or you could swipe your foot across, and that's going to allow this rear door to open. And you also have what's called the walk-away feature. And what exactly is that? Well, it's this button right here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to push that button one time. Now, I'm going to stand here for a few seconds. Let's just say I was gathering up the 20 different bags of groceries that I have back here so I could make one trip into the house, 10 in each hand. Boy, would that be interesting to watch. So what do we have? I don't know, 8 to 10 seconds, maybe a little bit more has elapsed. And notice that nothing has happened. This rear door is still open, but I walk away and watch what happens. That's why it's called the walk-away feature, because you have, well, different options. If you want to push that button and just let that door close on its own without having to wave your foot underneath the bumper, that takes care of that for you. Just a little bit more of a simplistic feature that this Pilot offers. And here under the hood, there's only one engine option. You don't have a hybrid version, at least not yet, of the Pilot. Tell me down in the comments, or maybe more importantly, tell Honda down in the comments if you would like to see that happen at some point down the road. This is the 3.5 liter dual overhead cam V6 from Honda. It makes 285 horsepower compared to the former VTEC that was under the hood that made 280. The torque numbers remain the same at 262, and No more 9-speed automatic transmission. It is now a 10-speed that's supposed to be specifically tuned for the Pilot. And let's see here if we can give you, I'm going to have to tell you what it is because I don't know how well you can see this. 19 city on the MPGs, 25 on the highway, 21 combined, and 4.8 gallons of gas potentially per every 100 miles driven. And one big advantage to this being a non-hybrid vehicle right now is that you do have a spare tire. Now, if it went hybrid down the road, I don't know if we would lose the spare tire or not. It's possible that we may not in this case, unlike with the CR-V. And that's because the spare tire in this case is located underneath the rear of the vehicle. It's not underneath the floor, it's actually under the vehicle in this rear area. How about towing and cargo capacity? Towing capacity, 5,000 pounds, and cargo capacity comes in at 18.6 cubic feet, up to 86.5, up to 87 cubic feet. And you had a little bit of a look back here earlier as far as the space goes. You do have the floor right here that offers more space underneath, quite a bit as far as options go there. And one little trick that I want to share with you, case you buy one of these Pilots. Now you're going to notice that you have the Velcro strip right here. The other side of that's going to be right here on the release for lowering these rear seats. Why is that important? Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this one like this. Let me make sure you can see that. So you can see that I've Velcroed that strap down. Now, what might happen in some cases is, well, that might happen. I'm 5'10". I would have to actually get into the interior of the vehicle or maybe go and open the passenger or the driver's side rear door right there to get to the strap. Here, all I have to do is pull up on this. Very easy to deal with. That just makes life a lot easier. Just trying to save you a little bit of trouble where that is concerned. And something else, you might say to yourself, for any number of reasons, you need to raise or lower the rear door. In fact, I'll lower it right here. How do you set the height? Well, it's pretty easy to do. All you're going to do, as it says right here, hold to set height. You're going to hold this button down until you hear the beeps. Let's listen. When you do that, now what's going to happen is I'm going to close the door down just to show you that this works. I could tell you about it, but I promise you, somebody would come along in the comments and say, why didn't you show us the change to prove that what you said really works? So here we are. There we go. You can see that it really does work. That's how easy it is to reset the height of this rear door. And the reason I show that is because, well, somebody might come and look in the interior, in the front seat area, or in the infotainment screen. I'm just saving you some time. And as far as your middle and rear seat passengers go, what are they going to find? Well, the privacy shades are here, but with the additional window tint, which, by the way, this is not factory tint, in case you were wondering about that. Holmes Honda did add this to this Pilot. They do that on a lot of the vehicles here at Holmes Honda. It's not something specific to the Elite trim level, but in case you were curious, well, there's the situation. A nice comfortable armrest, the upper and the lower door bins, quite a bit of space there, plenty of space for drinks, bottle holders, all that good stuff is there. And one thing here, well, actually two things. You can bring the seats forward to increase leg space for rear seat passengers, and this seat is actually removable. So this is actually an 8-passenger vehicle, 2 in the front, potentially 3 right here with this third seat, whether it's in or maybe it's not, so then you'd have 7. And then you can see the 3 seat belt buckles back there in the rear. That makes for a total of 8 in this particular case. And I like how easy it is to gain access to the rear seat. We're just going to push the button right there. The seat moves up and out of the way, pretty much all the way. So we'll hop in, and I'm going to show you something with the seats all the way back. I'm actually really comfortable here. Now, I can't necessarily stretch my legs all the way out. If this seat were removed, that could actually help where that's concerned. But something else that helps is the fact that these rear seats do recline, so that actually increases space a little bit. Everybody will have their own air conditioning vent. Well, maybe I shouldn't say everybody, because if you're in the outboard seats, you do. And USB ports, 1 on each side for a total of 2 in this third row. And then again, a couple of drink holders nobody is going to go thirsty here because there are drink holders pretty much everywhere you look. And if you're curious about the panoramic sunroof from this particular perspective, that's what it looks like. And one more thing I did want to show before I hop out of the third row. Let's make it easier to hop out of the third row. If whoever's sitting here in the second row forgets that I'm back here, well, guess what? I can push that button and hop right out. And for that person who is saying, Tom, I was really hoping you would show us what it looks like with that seat out of the middle row. Well, guess what? I heard you. I'm not going to forget. So here is what it looks like. And it's the same process as the Odyssey has had for several years. You just pull the strap on the front of the seat, you lean the seat forward, and you just pick it up off of where it hinges right here. I'd say the seat probably weighs maybe 40 pounds. Shouldn't be that terribly difficult for people to get out. And here is the middle seat in the middle row, reinstalled and now actually set up to use as a seat. Pretty comfortable back here, a lot of space, and the seats do recline as well. Let's see if I can do that one-handed. There we go. So you can see the difference in the different seats as far as your different settings go. And quite a bit of storage back here too, because you have the upper rear seat pocket, the lower rear seat pocket in the more conventional position, and you also have, you could probably use that as a few different things, but I'm guessing that's meant for your cell phone. And on the rear of the center console, air conditioning vents, the command center. This is the third zone of the tri-zone climate control. And you have heated seats. The outboard seats at least are heated. And then we're going to have the power outlet right here in addition to the USB options right there. And depending on where the front seats are positioned, there is quite a bit of leg room here. Pretty comfortable back here in this area. I don't feel cramped. It's probably the best way to put it. Looking in through the passenger side front door, obviously you're going to have pretty much the same setup as what we saw in the rear. The comfortable armrest, the upper and the lower door bins. A little bit of trim here. I'll give you a good close-up look at that. And then we're going to have the heated and ventilated power adjustable seats for the driver and the passenger. Those are very comfortable. Plenty of room up here for cell phones and whatever else anybody wants to put in there. And then plenty of options for connectivity. The 12-volt power outlet, a couple of USBs, wireless charging. Here are your cup holders and the push-button shifter. Some people like it, some people don't. You do have multiple different modes to choose from for your driving modes, hill start assist, and also you can turn off idle stop or the auto stop start feature. You know what else is there, I think. And the center console, very roomy, a lot of space in there. And we also have our controls for the sunroof. This is for the shade, actually, that covers the sunroof, or you can bring forward on the sunroof. So if you need to do that, you can. Over here is the control for the tilt and slide function. You also have the multitasking area right here for your sunglasses. It's a sunglass holder. Why is it a multitasker? Because it's also the conversation mirror. So if you want to give the angry eyes or maybe the kind eyes to whoever's sitting in the second and third row, well, you can do that. But you know what? That's not all you can do. And I wanted to show you the two different ways you can use the power folding feature of these side view mirrors. One is to obviously just lock the vehicle. Now there is a second function, but there is an important thing to know about that. I'll show you what that is. Obviously, you know what all is here on the driver's side door as far as all of your controls and switches go. You do have seat memory on the driver's side, only on the driver's side, not on the passenger side. I think you know everything else that's here. Same with the seats here, power adjustable, heated and ventilated. You can open and close the lift gate here. Everything else pretty self-explanatory. You can drop the lever right here to change the position of the heated steering wheel. Yes, that's right, it is heated. Now, what was I talking about earlier with the second option and what you need to know with these power folding side view mirrors? Well, the button to do that is right here. Now, I'm going to let you see something happen. Okay, that doesn't seem to be working. Well, here's the trick. You have to have the ignition on for that to work. Now, they folded right there, but I'm going to fold that back out, and here's the thing. So if the ignition is on, you can see that they will go ahead and fold. So depending on what you want to do, well, that may be helpful to you in tight parking situations and different things like that. Now, let's take a quick look here at the dashboard. A very nice look with the dash as far as everything goes. You can see what all is here. A digital speedometer up there. You can make changes to this. You can go in and do quite a bit. You do have multiple driving modes, like I said, so I'm going to use the drive mode selector to go through and show you the different driving modes. So here's what we're going to do. There's Econ. We also have Snow, Trail, Sand, and Tow. And then we'll go back up. We started with Econ. You have Normal, and then you have Sport. And when this area is like this, when you see the reminder right there, or whatever's there, this is what you can do as well. Now, when you see that graphic that lets you know who has their seatbelt on and who doesn't, you won't be able to see what I'm doing right now. But just to show you what's here, there's your tow mode, just so you can see everything. You control the headlights right here and the tail lights, obviously, also your fog lights. And there's something special that happens when you push this lever into the up or the down position. Some of you know, some of you don't. I know that because I drive around you. Haha. I fooled some of you because you thought I was going to give my typical spiel on that. I didn't. Now, I can't say anything sarcastic or funny about the lever here necessarily. I don't know. I'd have to really think on that. Is that even possible? But that's the control for the front and rear window wipers. And it has a third function as well. And I'm going to show you what that is. In fact, I'll show you right now on the 9-inch touchscreen. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to push this button right here. And what happens when I do? You get to see the multiple camera views all around this Pilot Elite. And you can see what I'm doing right here to change the camera view. So we have a couple of different views. You also have the overhead 360-degree view. And you have the views from the side view mirrors as well. So quite a bit going on there. You can actually maximize that if you want to. But what was I talking about earlier? So here is our front view with the camera. Now, let me say this. You don't have to have the camera on the screen for this to happen. Every time you run the windshield washer fluid at the same time, the front camera washer will also activate. So if you were wondering about that, well, now you know. Pretty simple to deal with. This is the 9-inch touchscreen. Very easy to use, very easy to learn. You have built-in navigation if you want to use that. But you also have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. So that's good to know. Let's see if we can get back here. There we go. And show you what your built-in navigation looks like. So depending on what your personal preference is on what you want to use, well, you can use that. You can choose whatever you need to. And something else I talked about, there was another way where you could get people's attention. You don't necessarily have to give them the angry eyes or the kind eyes. Well, you can also use cabin talk. That could be interesting, especially for those who are absolutely not paying attention to what's going on around them. That's actually a very simple system to use. I know some people look at that and think, oh man, that's really complicated. It's just one more thing to break. It's really not a big deal. These are very reliable systems, and they're easy to learn and use. Once you do that, once you learn it, you're going to be glad that you did. And I talked about how you have the tri-zone climate control. Here's the dual zone portion of that here in the front seat. You can sync or unsync that if you want to. And then the heated seat function right there and the ventilated seat function there as well. So quite a bit going on here where this vehicle is concerned. And then obviously when you go into reverse, you're going to get your cameras up there again. And then you're going to start off with your rear view camera, obviously, but you can work your way through depending on what you want to do with that. And for those who are wondering about the power shade for the panoramic sunroof, here it is in action. Just in case you were curious about that, I like to try and cover everything I possibly can. Okay, as we get out on the road for the test drive, I did finally figure out what the speed is at which the camera goes off, which would make sense. It's actually 15 miles per hour. That way, if you're on the trail somewhere where you need to see what's going on in front of you for whatever reason, and you're driving at a lower speed, well, 5 to 10 miles an hour definitely wouldn't do it. I should have known that, right? But that's the actual speed. I tested it when I was actually leaving the dealership. So 15 miles per hour, anything below that, that front camera is going to stay on and have its benefits for you. So depending on your situation, well, that can be very helpful. You also have a head-up display here. I didn't talk about that earlier. It has traffic sign recognition. It's going to let you know if you're above the speed limit, I guess. If you get too far, it might start blinking. I'm not sure. But just to tell you what all's here. So what about the ride quality? Well, personally, I think the ride quality of this Pilot is good. It's comfortable for me, at least. One thing about the test drives, you really need to test drive these vehicles for yourself, because you might drive it and say, wow, it didn't do anything that you said it did. It actually rides really smooth. I'm surprised you just said it rides well. Or you might say it doesn't ride as well as you hoped it would. It just depends on your personal experience, what you're used to driving, and the condition of the roads where you live. We could drive a lot of different places around here in Northwest Louisiana where I live and really put that to the test. But one way or another, a very solid vehicle. And as you saw earlier in the video, multiple driving modes, depending on basically any situation you need to deal with, you can deal with that. You have your snow mode and all that good stuff. That's the good thing about all-wheel drive, is that that's going to help you that much more. Acceleration is good here. That's one thing I like about this dual overhead cam version of this Honda V6, is that it seems to be smoother in its operation compared to the VTEC, at least based on my personal experience. Some people may not be able to tell the difference, but it's not to put the VTEC down and say that it's just that much different. But in my personal experience, I think that this particular version of what's available for the Pilots is actually more efficient, or just smoother in its operation. Overall, very comfortable. The interior is comfortable. The interior is spacious. I most certainly don't feel cramped here in this Pilot. So there's really a lot going here. But does all of this mean that the 2024 Honda Pilot Elite is the best mid-size 3-row SUV? And for those who made it to this portion in the video, here's a little bonus for you. What is the price of this model? $54,310. And depending on where you live, well, it could be less, it could be more. It just depends by region and really by dealership. So, what do you think about the 2024 Honda Pilot Elite? Is it the best mid-size 3-row SUV? Tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments section. I'm curious to know why you answered the way that you did. So I do want to say a special thanks to my friends here at Holmes Honda for loaning me this Pilot Elite for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and haven't subscribed to the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel just yet, please consider doing so. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.